We're good to go?
Not yet. Okay, Mr. Mayor, we live.
Thank you. So today is March 2nd, 2022. The time is 7:18. And I am calling to order the Baldwin Park City Council virtual regular meeting. And then we'll start off with a Pledge of Allegiance. City Manager, do you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Okay, I'm unmuted finally. Very good. As I look at your screen and facing the flag, everyone else do the same. Place your right hand over your heart and ready, begin. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
To the flag,
the
the United States of
of
America,
and
to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor,
Yes, Marie.
Mayor, may I just say a little invocation?
Yes, please, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Dear Heavenly Father, we ask to enlighten our council and our mayor as we begin our meeting. Please guide them to have the right decisions for our residents. We ask for our police officers when they go out into our city to keep them safe, keep our residents safe. We ask for your guidance for all of our residents and our employees of the city of Baldwin Park. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Marie. It's been a while since we've had an invocation, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
City Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll start with our city treasurer, Marie Contreras.
Yeah.
Awesome. Councilmember Alejandra Avila. Here. Councilmember Monica Garcia. Here. Councilmember Paul Hernandez.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Daniel Damian.
Here.
And Mayor Emanuel Estrada.
Here. Thank you for that, City Clerk. City Attorney, is there anything to report from closed session?
Yes, Mayor, thank you very much. The council did consider multiple items in closed session. They took one final action. The city council voted upon a motion by Mayor Estrada and a second by Councilmember Hernandez to accept a separation and severance agreement from Ben Martinez. The amount was a total of $87,212.08. That comes along with the waiver of any claims or anything of that nature. And Mr. Martinez is separated from the city as of today. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you for that, City Attorney. And then just so we're all aware, we're not done with closed session, so we'll be recessing back at the end of this meeting. And then we have proclamations, commendations, and presentations. And today is March 2nd, and March is Women's History Month. So I believe we have Cruz Baca, who's part of the Women's History Club. I'm not sure if Women's Club. Sorry, I'm over here making up clubs.
That's
Part of the
okay.
Women's Club. And then I don't know if you brought anybody else with you.
I did not. I'm sorry. I'm not in Baldwin Park this evening. So that's another reason I don't have the proclamation with me. It was delivered this evening. And so, but thank you so very much. Would you like to read it, Mayor, since I don't have it?
Yes, so I will read it. So Women's History Month, March 2022. Whereas throughout history, extraordinary women have fought tirelessly to broaden our democracy's reach and help perfect our union through protest and activism. For generations, women have appealed to the values at the heart of our nation and fought to give it meaning to the idea that we are all created equal. Whereas this month, we celebrate countless pioneering women and the victories they won, and we continue our work to build a society where our daughters have the same possibilities as our sons. They have demonstrated for justice, but also for jobs, ones that promise equal pay for equal work. courageous women have called not only for the absence of oppression, but for the presence of opportunity. Women have marched for the right to vote, not just so their voices would be heard, but so that they could have a seat at the head of the table. They have fought to overcome discrimination and shatter glass ceilings, and after decades of slow, steady, and determined progress, they have widened the circle of opportunity for women and girls across the country. Whereas we honor the many patriots who have shaped not only the destinies of other women, but also the direction of our history. As a nation, we must join our voices with the chorus of history and push forward with unyielding faith to forge a more equal society for all our daughters and granddaughters. Whereas today, more women are their family's main breadwinner than ever before. Women are nearly half of our nation's workers. This increasing participation of women in our workforce has sustained our economy and strengthened our families. Now, therefore, I, Emmanuel J. Estrada, Mayor of the City of Baldwin Park, along with Mayor Pro Tem Daniel Damian, Council Members Alejandra Avila, Monica Garcia, Paul C. Hernandez, City Treasurer Maria A. Contreras, and City Clerk Marlene Garcia do hereby proclaim March 2022 as Women's History Month in the City of Baldwin Park, California. And in doing so, we encourage all Americans to observe this month and celebrate with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. And of course, we're presenting it to the Women's Club and Cruz, who not only you have a record here in the City of Baldwin Park, and you are part of Baldwin Park history as a former council member, and of course, your bloodline, who plays a big role in the forming and shaping of Baldwin Park before it became Baldwin Park.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the council members and everyone. This is an honor on behalf of the ladies. We aren't that many members. We're only at 57 members. However, we work tirelessly. Again, this year we were able to, or we are going to be able to give out 7 $1,000 scholarships to the graduates from North Park, Sierra Vista High School, and Baldwin Park High School, and 5 $500 scholarships to students going on to careers and as well as maybe going on to higher academics. So we're very proud of the ongoing fundraising and our love for our community that we do and work so hard. We're, as I've said before, we're the oldest organization in Baldwin Park. We're 113 years old now. And so we're very, very proud. I'm very proud. Thank you so very much on behalf of all the ladies that work so hard. As you know, we do it from the heart, not so much as to get an award or for the accolades, but thank you so very much. And thank you to all those that continue donating to us. As everyone knows, COVID was a challenge. We weren't able to have our in-person events, but everyone still went up front and donated to us so that way we could continue sharing with the rest of our community. Thank you, Mayor and council members and everyone.
Yes. So real quick, before I hand it over, sorry, I think it was Councilmember Avila. I do just want to mention, so I wasn't, I'm very excited that, the Women's Club has been around for so long. And I don't think a lot of us are aware, but Baldwin Park actually has a very rich history. And we actually have a lot of women trailblazers in our city. And I don't know if people are aware of that. And so, we had our first ever woman mayor, who was Adelina Gregory, and I believe that was in the 70s. And before that, she was a council member for over a decade. She was voted in by her peers, which means that she was voted in by, the rest of her council was before we voted for mayors independently. During that time, at some point, she was one of 3 women in a elected position in the San Gabriel Valley. And she was also the first woman to, I believe, chair the ICA. So, we have a lot of trailblazers. We have her, we have Betty Lowe's, who, of course,
Yes.
we recognized in her passing and spoke to her family about, and she was our first elected woman mayor. So that was another one in the 90s. And then we had Julie McNeil, who wasn't only a trailblazer in women history, she was a trailblazer in Black women history in the city of Baldwin Park. So it's very important that we keep our Baldwin Park history alive and that we encourage people to look at the history that we have and really how the trailblazing women that are coming out of Baldwin Park. And of course, now we have Susan Rubio and Blanca Rubio, who are 2 sisters at the Capitol of immigrant descent, which I think is a great story for a lot of our residents, and of course, all the women that are leading and are part of the council and our city clerk and and of course, our favorite city treasurer, Marie. So it's very important that we pride ourselves in the history that we have and the glass ceilings that that have been broken by past leaders. And of course, recognizing the Women's Club has been around for a very long time and continues to be active. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember Avila.
Well, thank you, Mayor. You just mentioned a lot of the people I was going to mention.
Oh, sorry. I did it like in one breath. I was like,
That's awesome. Yeah. So I want to thank the Baldwin Park Women's Club. They do an amazing job. Like you said, they're providing all these scholarships for our high school students. And so that's something to look up to. And they do work very hard. I was part of the Women's Club for a very short time, and they do a lot. And I look forward to very soon Ms. Cruz Baca to come back as soon as I have time. But I want to thank you, Cruz Baca, since I do have you in front of me. First, thank all the women in the club for doing an amazing job. And I want to thank you for being a leader in our city and a role model for our young women here in the city of Baldwin Park. There's definitely a lot to look up to, and we appreciate everything that you have done and everything that you continue to do for the city of Baldwin Park. And so showcase to our young women what they can do in the future. Once again, thank you. And thank all the women in the Women's Club for me.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
thank you. And then, sorry, I forgot one more, and that's Ana Montenegro, who was one of the first Latinas elected and one of the longest serving treasurers in the city of Baldwin Park. So have a great history. So
Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
Clerk. Thank you. It's just, I was just thinking, if we look at all of our elected officials, from our congresswoman, state senator, assembly member, county board of supervisors, all of them are females, and all of them have broken that glass ceiling for so many of us. And I have the distinction of being the first Latina elected to the Baldwin Park City Council, and made the history book of the city of Baldwin Park. And it carries a strong responsibility in that we are role models to those that are looking up to be leaders in our community. And so we can't forget all of those that have set that trail for the rest, and acknowledge them and recognize them, appreciate them, and continue the battle, because it continues to be a battle. I'm so happy that the President of the United States is considering a female, has supported a female to serve as one of our Supreme Justices. So that speaks volumes. And the fact that she's African-American is even more inspirational. So we have a lot to celebrate this Women's Month. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Cruz. Thank you for your leadership and for all the work that you do with the Women's Club, but not only there, and in every other organization that you're part of. So thank you, Cruz, for all your work.
Oh, no, thank you very much, Danny. And thank everyone for all. It takes a village. And so it's everybody's, like I said, from donating to working, to referring us to different people that might need the help, to the teachers, to everyone. That sort of, this is such a family-oriented community that it's everybody, this is everybody working together to move forward and to help everyone. So thank you. But Mayor, real fast, I don't know if I'm stepping on anyone's toes, but I would like to also see if you could please close in memory of, you mentioned my cousin, Ana Montenegro, who was Baca Montenegro, actually, the treasurer for many years. Her son passed away a week ago, and was in a terrible automobile accident, and he passed away. So if you could please close in his memory, Mark Montenegro. So thank you, everyone. I'm sorry? Hello?
I think it might have just been she was on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But thank you, Cruz, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much on behalf of the ladies. See you soon.
Thank you. See you soon. And of course, the council and myself send you our condolences, and the rest of the family. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. At this moment, I will pass this over to Councilmember Hernandez.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Mayor. Our next proclamation is to the American Red Cross. I know we have Miss Erica Fausto Aguda with us. I believe she might be feeling a bit under the weather, so I do appreciate her commitment to even be with us and spend a little bit of time, even remotely, and so forth. Are you there, Erica?
Yes, I am. Thank you, council member. And you're right. I am a little under the weather. Unfortunately, my household is under the weather, but Hopefully this will pass soon, but I really appreciate you having me on and proclaiming this month as March is Red Cross Month. It's been celebrated since 1943, so we appreciate you doing this for us, and of course our partnership with the City of Baldwin Park, our continuing partnership, and we are looking forward to doing more in the city, more activities, coming up with in May, our big Sound the Alarm event where we will be installing fire alarms in the city. There is more information to come, but we are really appreciative of this proclamation. Thank you.
Perfect. And with that, I'm sure the rest of my colleagues will have things to say because the Red Cross has had a long-term relationship with the city. I know we've really upped it up over the last couple of years, and we're continuing to move forward on various things. And again, thank you for your service and for your assistance with the families that were affected this past weekend. Nonetheless, so with that, allow me to read this proclamation, and we'll make sure to get it to your hands and your offices as promptly as possible.
Thank you.
So this reads, the American Red Cross Month is March 2022, whereas more than 140 years ago, the American Red Cross was established as a humanitarian organization guided by 7 fundamental principles, including humanity, imperative, and independence to provide service to those in need, regardless of race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, or citizenship. Whereas every year, the American Red Cross responds to an average of more than 62,000 disasters across the country. From small home fires to devastating massive disasters, thousands of American Red Cross volunteers provide around-the-clock shelter for disaster victims and distribute millions of relief items. Whereas March is Red Cross Month, a special time to recognize and thank Red Cross volunteers, donors who help members of their community. We applaud our heroes in the greater San Gabriel Valley and Pomona Valley chapters who give themselves to assist their neighbors when they need a helping hand. Whereas the American Red Cross shelters feed, provide emotional support to victims of disasters, supplies about 40% of the nation's blood, teaches skills that saves lives, provides international humanitarian aid, and support military members and their families. Whereas in Los Angeles, the Red Cross has a long history of helping our neighbors in need and handling an average of 3,000 emergency calls every year. Whereas we dedicate the month of March to all those who support the American Red Cross mission to prevent and alleviate human suffering in the faces of emergencies. Our community depends on American Red Cross, which delivers on volunteers and the generosity of the public to perform its mission. Now, therefore, I, Emmanuel J. Estrada, Mayor of City of Baldwin Park, along with Mayor Pro Temp Daniel Damian, Council members Alejandra Avila, Monica Garcia, Paul C. Hernandez, City Treasurer Marie A. Contreras, and City Clerk Marlene Garcia, do hereby proclaim March 2022 as American Red Cross Month in the City of Baldwin Park. And in doing so, we encourage all Americans to support this organization and its noble humanitarian mission. I just want to highlight, we have some of those volunteers in our community. I believe Director Ralph Galvin with the Valley County Water District is one of those volunteers that supports our neighbors and our residents during times of needs, not only here in City of Baldwin Park, but also in the region. So as Erica mentioned, we have a big event, to prevent fires and disasters in our city, in which the rest of the council and the city and all of our partners will be, marching on May 14th on a Saturday, so mark your dates. Additional information will be provided. This will be a time in which we will be assisting and installing fire alarms in individual homes and apartment units. We also have Red Cross blood drives. We have one coming up on March 15th. Erica can certainly provide you the link to that. I believe it's redcrossblooding.org. I could be wrong, Erica, but you can correct me on that one. So with that, thank you for everything that you're doing. I know that we're also have applied for a grant, a connected community grant that hopefully we'll cross our fingers that the city will be in receipt of that at some point. But again, that just illustrates the long-term relationship and the future partnership items that we have planned not only for this year, but in the years to come. With that, I turn it over to my council. Thank you.
Thank you. So, of course, we want to thank Erica and the team for all they do. They, I think you mentioned it. They, they help during emergency services. When there's fires, they go out there and they help and they make sure that those families have some sort of aid to find shelter or relief during those hard times. So we want to thank you for that and being a good neighbor to the city of Baldwin Park. And of course, we cannot forget to mention that the Red Cross was founded by a woman. So we want to recognize that too, Claire Barton. So a little fun fact. So thank you, Erica, and your team, and of course, all the volunteers in our community, and of course, our board of director on the water board, Ralph Galvin, who's always out there as well and volunteers his time. So if any other council members want the floor, now is your time.
I would just like to thank Erica and the American Red Cross for everything that they do, Mayor. Thank you so much, Erica.
Thank you.
Mayor, I just want to take the opportunity to thank Red Cross for your assistance, especially recently with families who were affected by their homes, being destroyed due to fire. So just want to say thank you for your assistance and for being a partner to the city of Baldwin Park, especially in those times of need for our families. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Erica, for being here. So at this moment, I will open public communications. Chief Deputy City Clerk, is there anybody looking to speak?
No, Mayor.
Great. So at this moment, before we close, I do want to honor Cruz Baca's request, our former council member, and close on behalf of Mark Montenegro. As I mentioned before, the Montenegro family and the Baca family have a long history here in the city of Baldwin Park and have played a great role in it. And of course, we want to show our respects whenever we can and show them our support whenever it is needed. So at this moment, I will close public communications.
Mayor.
And, yes.
I'm sorry. If we could also close in memory of Yvonne Jimenez, a longtime resident of the city of Baldwin Park. She passed away of cancer. She'd been battling cancer for quite some time. Her parents, father still lives here in Baldwin Park. And her mother, Mrs. Jimenez, passed away last year from complications due to COVID. So it's been a tremendous loss to have lost her mom and now to lose her. So if we could please close in her memory, that would be wonderful.
Yes, of course. So we will honor your request, City Clerk, and close on her behalf. And then, of course, also extend our sincerest sympathies to that family and let them know that, of course, the City of Baldwin Park is here to show them support in any way possible during this rough time. So at this moment, we'll move to consent calendar. And is there any items looking for council that is looking to pull?
Mr. Mayor, can I pull 13, please?
Okay. Is there any other items? 13.
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to pull item 15.
$13, $15. Okay, so I'll pull item number 4 and 5, and then you have 13 and 15. So at this moment, I'll make a motion to pass the consent calendars, items 1 through 14, excluding items 13, 15, 4, and 5. Can I get a second?
Second.
Chief Deputy or City Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you. Mayor Estrada,
Yes.
Councilmember Paul Hernandez,
Yes.
Councilmember Alejandra Avila,
Yes.
Councilmember Monica Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Daniel Damian.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you for that. So motion passes. So we are down to items 4 and 5. So I'll bring them up together. Manny, I know that residents have shown a lot of excitement regarding the events coming back. So just kind of talking about the budget, I know that there's a lot of excitement. I know people want this to come back. So can you kind of tell us where we're getting the funds from? And then there's a possibility to, and then kind of have discussion if there's a possibility to extend the dollar budget for the artists that we're looking to hire.
Well, thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this staff report is for City Council to consider approval of the concerts in the park series, budget appropriation, as well as the downtown street market. The funding sources are coming from a few different funding sources. I'll just refer to the staff report. Fiscal impact to the general fund is $10,493,000 for fiscal year 21-22, and an additional $67,467 for 02-03. The total cost of the event is $77,960 over a 6-week period, which includes revenue, salaries, entertainment, sound technician, giveaways, materials, and supplies. That fiscal impact is pertaining only to the concert in the park series. In regards to the fiscal impact for the downtown street market, it is a little bit more. We traditionally spend a little bit more on the downtown street market because we have to set up out on the street. There's some additional costs in regards to outdoor restroom, lighting, things of that nature. The cost or the prices of entertainment have increased slightly over the last few years. We haven't had the street market or the concerts in the last 2 years due to COVID. So the prices have gone up a little bit. We've captured pretty much all of the costs in regards to part-time pay, full-time pay. And when I say full-time pay, that includes the police department, recreation department, public works, and all the other support costs. So I think that pretty much concludes staff's comments in regards to the two staff reports. Be happy to answer any type of questions the council may have.
So just for the actual like music entertainment, what is the budget? I wasn't able to decipher.
Generally speaking, each stage, if I had to generalize it, each stage is probably in the neighborhood of about $5,500. So keeping in mind the concerts in the park, we have 6 concerts. We have 1 stage. So we will probably average about $5,500. We may spend more on some weeks and less on others. And then in regards to the downtown street market, we have 2 stages, one on the north end of the street on Main and the south end. Usually the south end of the stage has the larger group just because we have a little bit more wiggle room on that end of the stage. And once again, it's probably about $5,500 on an average, but we are probably going to increase that slightly just because we are getting some quotes back from some of the vendors or the performers, and the prices are coming back a little bit more than anticipated. But this is the budget. If we should require any additional funds, please keep in mind that we have not started planning for the next fiscal year's budget that will start off July 1st. So if we should need additional funds, we could incorporate that into the budget cycle.
Great. And then, so July 1st, so do you know how many concerts in the park we have before then?
We will have 1. The first concert will commence June 30th, which is the last Thursday in the of June, and the last Thursday of the fiscal year.
Yeah. So I know that. Sorry. So I know that things are, everything's in demand right now because everything's coming back. So there's a lot of negotiating with a lot of these artists, and I wouldn't want to wait till July because by the time July is here, I don't think you have enough room to schedule them and book them. You can't book an artist from one week to the next, right? Normally it takes a couple of months.
Correct.
So, at least I'd like to see if we can add $10,000 just for the entertainment budget to make sure that you have the room to negotiate with a lot of these artists and make sure that we don't lose out on a city favorite over 1,000 or 2,000, and that gives you the room.
Thank you, Mayor. That's an excellent recommendation. We are looking at attracting, or I should say, continuing our longstanding reputation by bringing some of the best groups around. We have had some great groups, and we will continue that tradition this summer.
Great.
Mayor, I have a question. Are you talking just about item 4? Or are you combining them with item 5?
Well, I was thinking, I'm not sure. I guess that's maybe a discussion. How much do you think we can budget? I just want to make sure that because we're not going to be able to, when you reserve artists, right? You don't reserve them from 1 week to the next or 1 month to the next, unless you're very lucky. So we want to make sure that Manny has the room now to lock in the artists that are the cities, that are crowd favorites, and make sure that they don't have to come back during. We don't want them to negotiate now, and then by the time we come back to the next council meeting, somebody else might have booked them for that day.
Sure, Mayor, if I may make the recommendation, if that is council's wishes, I would recommend adding to the entertainment budget $10,000 for the summer concerts and an additional $15,000 for the street market. And we will use the money very wisely. We will not exhaust the funds if not necessary.
Okay. I'm okay with that. I think it'd be very nice to make sure that we have a strong comeback in our events. I know our residents have been eager for them to come back, and they've been patiently waiting. So I think the least we can do is give them a good show.
Mayor?
Yes, Mayor, Councilmember Avila.
And if I recall, you did say you were going to be one of the performers at either concerts in the park or the street market. So
well, that's why
I'm sure there were no fees for that one, correct?
There is no fees, but that's why we want to make sure he has all the wiggle room he has. And then, if we can't lock in a band, I'll be the backup. We'll make sure something plays. Don't worry.
Okay, just making sure. Thank you.
Mayor, so we're allocating 10 additional $1,000 for the concerts at the park, and then an additional 15,000 for the downtown street market.
Yeah, and I think that's because they have the 2 stages at that event, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, if there's no objection, I'll make a motion to pass item number 4 and 5 with the recommended added.
I have a.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. You're passing both items together?
Yeah.
Okay. So quick before we go, I have a question regarding item 5, Manny.
Yes, sir.
The budget that you have on here, does this include the $10,000 that we had allocated for the PSAs to promote the event, and then also the $20,000 that we had allocated for the Baldwin Park small businesses to be able to have their booths for free, that we would cover that for them out of the American Rescue Plan funds?
I am double checking as you asked that, and I believe it is included on there. I am not 100%, but at the staff level, we have been talking about this. So I believe it is included in there. If by chance we did make an error and leave it off, I don't think we did. I'm reading the staff report. We could also always make the adjustment as part of the new fiscal year, but I believe it is added. Keep in mind, the downtown street market will not start until 6 weeks after June 30th. So doing the math in my head, that is probably
August.
Yeah, mid-August, we will start the downtown street market all the way through September, and I believe September 15th for the big holiday will be our last one.
Yeah, because I was reviewing the staff report, and I don't see the allocations for that. So I just want to make sure that we separate from the ARP funds the 10,000 to promote the event, and then also not forget the 20,000 that we had decided back at the February at the I forget what meeting it was. I think it was last year in October, where we were going to contribute the $20,000 from the ARP funds to cover the small businesses booths there as well. So
okay, if if by chance, Mayor Pro Tem, we left it off, I'm looking under background, the finishing off the first paragraph. I believe it's included, but if you could also give us latitude and provide a recommendation to work with finance to make any adjustments, I think that would probably cover our bases.
Got it.
You know, Manny, the way I read it, but of course, being able to clarify makes sense, is that the request is for general fund funding. The others would come from ARP, which you have already taken action to allocate those.
Correct.
And appropriate them. So the request is specific to general fund. So it's not included in the request, Councilmember Damian, or Mayor Pro Tem Damian, but it was already approved by the council in
Got it. Okay.
in a different action for
Perfect.
ARP funding.
Okay, just want to make sure we don't lose that out. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, just real quick. before you make a
Yes,
motion.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Thank you. And I don't know if we have to make a decision today, Manny, but considering that El Grito is on Friday, September the 16th, perhaps we may want to consider, instead of moving it on a Thursday, hosting it on a Thursday night, we do it on a Friday night to incorporate El Grito and celebrate in and around that celebration, just to bring out more folks out on a Friday night versus a Thursday night. Any thoughts on that, colleagues? And again, we don't have to make a decision, but at least something to consider.
Councilmember Hernandez, isn't the grito on the 15th?
I thought it's 16th. It just depends where you celebrate it.
It's the 15th at midnight. Oh,
Oh, okay.
The 15th?
Oh, got it.
it's at midnight. Going into the 16th, yeah.
All right, we can do it. That's fine.
So that makes- we get towards the end. And then, of course, Mexico has the grito, which is very symbolic and one of the most popular things on that day. But we also want to make sure we include our Latin American counterparts, as many of those countries also celebrate their Independence Day on that day, I believe. So just make sure we have the grito, but a little bit of multicultural stuff, a little bit of multicultural in the background.
Absolutely. Excellent.
Right. So I think that's good. So we're making a motion to pass item number 4 and 5 with the added room for expenditures. So $10,000 to the concert at the park budget, and then it's $15,000 to the downtown street market budget for entertainment. And of course, we want to make sure that we double check our ARPA and that everything is in line. And that is my motion. So can I get a second?
Second.
Good.
Chief Deputy City Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Estrada,
Yes.
Councilmember Alejandra Avila,
Yes.
Councilmember Monica Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Paul Hernandez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Daniel Damian,
Yes.
motion passes.
You. And I believe we are at item number 13. I believe that would have been Councilmember Hernandez.
Thank you. I appreciate this. Again, thank you, staff. Lulu, just out of curiosity, for clarification, does this also include those petitions? It seemed like, just to add one more additional ballot item was about another 1,000 or so to, overall, generally over the overall cost. But does this also include for those outside petitions that are being driven right now?
Yes, Councilmember Hernandez. So the cost estimate for the 5 offices is around $160. If you were to add one ballot, it's only a $300 difference. And I did include up to 6 measures, and that's 162, 163 roughly.
Perfect. Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that for all of us, just so we have a general sense of what that cost is, whether we put them on or whether they're outside folks that are putting them on for various reasons. Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to pass item 13 as is.
Okay. Second.
Okay.
Okay. Chief City Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Hernandez,
Yes.
Mayor Estrada,
Yes.
Councilmember Alejandra Avila,
Yes.
Councilmember Monica Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Daniel Damian,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you for that. And then Mayor Pro Tem, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm looking at item 15. This is for the current entry-level salaries for part-time positions with the Recreation Department, Parks and Rec. So as you guys know, right now, the entry salary is $15.23 an hour. And we're having a very difficult time hiring staff to make sure that we have the manpower to be able to have the downtown street market and the concerts in the park. So one of the things that I would like to do is direct staff to have the part-time entry level start at $16.82 an hour. Obviously, this would only be a short-term fix, because what would happen is we're gonna start to have significant compaction issues with the long-term part-time employees. So, right now you have, especially retail stores, fast food restaurants, they're paying $16, $17 an hour. And for us to entice, our people to apply, we have to pay more than the $15.23 an hour. So my recommendation would be, start them off at $16.82. But I would also like to direct staff to incorporate a new part-time salary structure as part of the fiscal year for 22-23 budget, because we need to make sure that it's going to be fair for all of our staff. Right now, this is just something that's a sense of urgency, because we need to make sure that we have adequate time to be able to fly these positions, have them apply, put them to the backgrounds, and then train them so that we have them ready for, I don't know, Manny, maybe mid-May or beginning of June, that you would need to have the staff ready to be able to accomplish the downtown street market and the park, concerts at the park?
Yes, I mean, if with council's consensus, if this item gets approved, we will start marketing tomorrow.
Okay, so that would be my recommendation. Again, the justification is there. We're just not going to entice anybody to apply for $15.23 an hour. So that would be my direction to staff.
Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Avila.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Damian. This has been actually a conversation that has been brought up for some years now. And I've had this conversation with Manny, how we need to entice people to come to work for us and to be able to keep them. I think it's a good idea to increase it to $16.82 and to look into the salary structure that we currently have for the current year. So that is a great idea. Thank you. I definitely am in agreement with you.
Great. And I just want to reiterate and support what Mayor Pro Tem is talking about. And I agree, right? Want to make sure that we're competitive and that we're enticing people to want to work here. And of course, the pay is going to reflect the type of, I think, quality of work we'll get. We want to make sure that, that Baldwin Park is offering something competitive, especially because it's not just a job. Even at the lowest, even at the bottom of the structure, the recreational leader is still important. They're the ones taking care of senior events. They're the ones taking care of all the other events, and they're providing a service to our community. We want to make sure that we give them a reasonable rate. So I think this is an important conversation. I think it's a small portion of a very, very bigger conversation that will be taken on, I'm sure, later on in the future, but it's an important start. So there's no more comments.
Is that your motion, Mr. Damian? Do you want to make the motion?
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see if there's any other, my council colleagues have any questions or comments? No. So my motion would be to start part-time staff entry level at $16.82 an hour. Also direct staff to incorporate a new part-time salary structure as part of the fiscal year 22-23 budget so that we can address the staff in whole.
Okay.
City Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Danny Damian,
Yes.
Councilmember Alejandra Avila,
Yes.
Councilmember Monica Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Paul Hernandez,
Yes.
and Mayor Emanuel Estrada.
Yes, thank you for that, City Clerk. I believe that is the end of our consent calendar. And Mayor Pro Tem, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. So my request is for us to have a discussion and direct staff to potentially placing a ballot measure on term limits. So as you know, right now, the city of Baldwin Park has no term limits. My proposal would be to recommend a maximum of 3 terms, which would be 12 years. And then also I would recommend that we change the mayor structure from a 2-year term to a 4-year term. Also, it would allow to where if, example, someone is a council member, they've done their 12 years and then let 4 years pass by, you cannot run again. Your 12 years is your lifetime maximum. However, if you want to pursue a career in politics and you want to say you completed 12 years of city council and now you want to run for mayor, you can run for mayor and then start over another 12 years. So it's basically 12 years per seat, but you cannot, wait out an election and then come back to run again for the same seat that you had already previously filled, either for city council, mayor, treasurer, or city clerk.
Okay.
Any discussions, comments, questions?
No, I'm happy to discuss that when we get the memo back to really understand all of that. But no problem. Thank you.
Okay, so staff, you got clear direction. Thank you.
Great. So, Councilmember Hernandez, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The first item here is I'd like to have a discussion and provide perhaps a direction for the city to host a Baldwin Park Economic Revive and Thrive Summit to support our business communities. This is, I think it's necessary for us to have our staff to pull together the various stakeholders in our community that are providing those jobs that, those part-time and those full-time jobs in our city. So I'd like for staff to, come back with us. We'll provide them a little bit more direction as to, what a one-day summit could look like. So we could understand what the needs are of our business community and also how the city can help support them as we begin to transition out of this pandemic and hopefully to an endemic in the near future. They are some of the the folks that are sustaining our city, especially the mom and pops. There is a little bit of struggle with providing them the ARP money to keep some of their storefronts open. So understanding that, on the forefront, then, trying to work with them, during a pandemic, I think it would behoove us to help, understand their needs to see how we can best support them in all manners, whether it's youth employment, expanding their mom and pop operations to a much larger capacity. These are just things that we can certainly discuss and work, of course, with our Baldwin Park Business Association as part of it, along with some other folks in the region that I'm sure can provide some resources and so forth for half day or so forth.
That's a great idea. Definitely do a lot more for our local businesses. Does anybody have any comments regarding Councilmember Hernandez?
Oh, I think that's a great idea. I support that.
Great. Good.
Thank you. Seeing none, we'll move on to the next one. The next item is for council discussion is on re-engagement. Again, our efforts on the business, school, and non-governmental sectors on youth employment. We had started pretty heavily with a youth employment program in the city with Manny's shop and other folks, along with the Baldwin School District. But I think obviously because of the pandemic, we had to kind of roll that and stop some of that effort quite some time ago. So I'd like for us as a whole begin that process so we can provide those first jobs and those learning opportunities for our young adults. And those young adults can range anywhere from 16 years old all the way to 21 is the scope of folks that I'm looking at as I'm thinking right now. But be able to assist them and provide them those opportunities to uplift them and to be successful in an environment that's supportive of their first jobs or maybe their second job they may have here. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's important that we partner and engage with everybody, including our school district. Children aren't just part of the school district jurisdiction, they're part of our jurisdiction, right? At the end of the day, they go to school for 8 hours and then with their residents 24 hours and then the future leaders of the city. So we want to make sure that we give them every opportunity to grow up healthy and developed. So I agree. I think that's a great idea.
Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Garcia.
I just want to express my support for these two items as well. You know, anytime we can support our business communities, it presents a good opportunity for us. And then, of course, anytime we can support our youth with employment, I definitely have a history here in the city of Baldwin Park with summer youth employment programs, even having been a participant and knowing city staff that started in youth employment opportunities and, you know, just the impact that they leave in a very positive way. So absolutely want to be supportive of that. I didn't get a chance to submit my requests, but you know, they happened more recently. So let me just go ahead and verbalize it. I'd like to ask our chief of police to give us regular updates on the gang activity that's happening in our community right now and what we're doing in response. Right now, since it's kind of a hot spot, I'd like to have a regular report, chief, and you let us know what is reasonable. But you know, like I said, there is an urgency to it. And so at first I was thinking a quarterly basis, but we're on track for you know, higher than usual activity. And so maybe we can have every other meeting, at least a minimum, having the report back just to know what we're doing as a city in response to what's happening out in the community. And we're well aware and well informed. And then second, I wanted to ask about the establishing a protocol for communicating with the council when incidents arise or, you know, are happening. Sorry, we're trying to get that quiet zone, right, Sam? So it's in the works. So having an established protocol for communication to the city council when a certain type of incident does occur, like a shooting or a stabbing, or, you know, so if you could let us know, chief, what that looks like at the next council meeting, that would be great. Those are my two requests. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I think that's a great idea. I want to make sure also that we are aware of the regional issue, right? It seems that the pandemic and of course everything that's going on is affecting everybody, and that includes county, the region, Southern California. So chief, if you can also add that to your data so that we can better understand how we compare and to see what's going on in the area alone.
Mr. Mayor, go on.
Thank you. Yes, I agree with getting those reports, but I know some of it may have to be under closed session depending on what it is that you're reporting. But that type of report will definitely help us better understand what's going on and what you are doing, which I know you are as a police department, but at the same time, make sure that we keep the confidentiality when needed so certain information doesn't get out that needs to be out at the time. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, again, I just want to uplift the recommendation that Councilmember Garcia has mentioned. In fact, you know, a few months ago, the chief is supposed to, if my memory serves me correct, he's supposed to be providing those crime stat reports back at our next council meeting in mid-March. So correct me if I'm wrong, chief, but I think that's the timeline that folks have kind of provided, that you provided to us in regards to some of that information.
We did discuss that yesterday. You're absolutely right. The issue is funding for the consultant that is supposed to put together a dashboard so that I can actually get that information. That staff report is coming to you next council meeting for approval. It's a staff report for $20,000 to allow the firm to create a dashboard so that we can extract the information from the systems that we have and actually provide a decent report that identifies gang or identifies criminal activity or crime stats that we need to put out, and actually so that I can actually work crime stats and hold people accountable for the
I
crime.
appreciate that. I think you work with our CEO where it doesn't have to come to our city council. I think Enrique, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you have the authority to sign off on that through your purview of expenditure authority, or is it lower?
I'm at 25,000 minus $1, Councilmember Hernandez, so 24,999.99.
Yep.
So I think did you say 40,000, Chief?
Those are 20,000.
20,000.
Okay. Yeah. So yes, we had just an interpretation of appropriation versus procurement with our finance department, but we've taken care of that with our city attorney. Yes, I have the authority.
Perfect, Chief. Then it doesn't have to come back to council. You can just give it to Enrique tomorrow, and he'll take care of that for us. So again, the expectation is we start to see this information. All of us, including Councilmember Garcia, have been asking about crime stat for well over years, and I'm the same way. I'm literally, essentially, we've given you the tools now, so let's try to move forward on this as quickly as possible, please. Thank you.
Yes, it'll take 6 to 8 weeks to extract it or to build the dashboard, but I definitely am also as frustrated as you all are because I can't tell what type of crime we're dealing with. So I appreciate the help to get this tool done, and I'll get it done as soon as that's signed.
Great. And then, so I think just to double check, do you know when the last time was that we actually took a crime stat? Because we do have equipment, right? It's just, from my understanding, it wasn't being used.
The system is very cumbersome, and it doesn't allow for the dashboard to be created, and it's never been created before prior to me getting here. There was an analysis done by a former chief, and in that it talks about IT in order to get that information. So that's what I'm building on.
Great. So can you also add that? So when you give us those first crime stats, can you give us a little bit of history on the crime stats? Obviously, it's taking you long because it sounds like you're building the system because it's never been used.
Correct.
We've had the equipment.
Yes, sir.
So if you can give us a report on that process, what process you're working on. I think that helps us relay information as to what you've been doing since you got in here and what are the things that you've pinpointed and what are the things that you're working on, right?
Yes, sir.
I think we're all, it's very important that we understand what the crime stats are, what we're able to compare them to or what we're not able to compare them to, and then go from there. So just a little brief history, and then, of course, the crime stats from now. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
And then I think that ends our directions. So at this moment, meeting is not adjourned, but the council will meet in closed session. So we are recessing back to closed session, which means the majority of you will be not here when we come back. So good night, everybody.
Happy Land, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Yeah, we did 1 each, right? Se corrió, ¿ah? Porque no era poco este
Okay, so am I? Oh, I auto joined as a panelist, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to promote you as co-host.
Okay, I just paused the.
Granicus.
Yeah, Granicus is paused. I see
Well,
our cloud recording is paused.
yeah, so now
Live on YouTube. All right.
so we need to mute. The YouTube is still on.
Okay. Should I join? Yeah, I'll join the other meeting through Jump. And I guess when I see them start to leave. Well,
Yeah,
no.
we can mute and then we talk over the phone.
Okay. Hey, Monica.
Hi.
Just so you know, this is the regular session meeting.
Oh,
They're
I'm
all-
on the regular?
Yeah, this is the regular.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought I went to close.
No, they are enclosed, but this is the
Thank
meeting.
you.
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
All right. So we're live, David?
Give me about a 10-second lag for Granicus to catch up.
No worries.
We're good.
All right, so we are back from closed session. City Attorney, is there anything to report out?
Mr. Mayor, no final action was taken on any closed session items. Therefore, there's no reportable action, and that concludes my report.
Great, thank you for that. So at this moment, I will move to adjourn the meeting, 9:47 p.m. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.